We just discussed some of the winning strategies of how HR can be more impactful, but wouldn't it be wonderful to know from someone's personal journey how they aligned their HR strategy with their overall business objectives to achieve the desired goals? Well, get ready for a sneak peek into how HR initiatives need to be integrated with the organization vision, mission, and strategic priorities to directly contribute to achieving those goals. Through this freewheeling conversation, we'll try to understand the gaps between HR and business alignment and what are the ways to bridge them. For this fireside conversation, we have with us Neeraj Sharma, Head of People and Culture, Genzion, and Varun Ramakrishnan, Product Manager and Employee HR Happiness, Keka. Welcome, both of you.
Hi,
Hello.
Pallavi.
Wonderful to have you on this interesting, and we're really looking forward to a very fun conversation. So, with this, I will just hand over the mic to Varun. And Varun, go ahead, the stage is all yours.
Thanks, Pallavi. Thanks, Neeraj. It's an honor meeting you. We quickly shared a few notes earlier, and I was inspired by the journey that Neeraj has had, right? And to talk to a thought leader from this space. So, alignment to company strategy, right, has always been a very close to heart topic for me. And at Keka, it's a very integral part of our mission, especially ensuring that HR strategy, the people topic is always aligned to the overall company goals, right? So, I mean, in that space, it has also been my experience over the years. I've never seen HR strategy or people strategy gain that much of a table or that much of an importance when companies' goals are aligned to, right? It's always been, hey, your sales strategy, your customer success strategy, your product strategy, right? All those have gotten a better alignment to company goals. What have been your challenges? I think you've definitely transformed Gen Z on that way. What has been your challenges in aligning the HR strategy to a company level goals, right? And how have you been able to overcome that? Who are the stakeholders? How did you manage that space? It'll be interesting to hear it from you.
Right. So, morning, everybody. Happy Thursday and Eid Mubarak to all of you. And so, Gension is a IT solutions company, um, as opposed to maybe a more pure play product development company. And in an IT solutions company, there is a whole lot of customer centricity, right? And a very strong bias for action in terms of deliverables, all within certain windows of time. There are diversity of business opportunities, and yeah, you have to evolve very quickly. So time to market, time to delivery are all very ambitious targets, as opposed to a typical product development environment.
Right.
More interestingly, there are changes and reconfiguration of teams, redeployment of resources, upskilling, cross-skilling resources that is always required. No delivery organization can survive without going hand in hand and setting up talent acquisition for success, which is a very large chunk of the overall people strategy. So I was very much at home at Gen Z on, in understanding how much there was the support that was there and the pushback that was there, the dependency on ensuring that the people organization is sensitized at various changing points of time of the business requirements, right? The demands of the business. I don't think I've perceived that much amount of pushback and alignment need coming from the business and leadership side as much in non-IT solutions and non-IT services background companies.
Right.
Just to set a context.
Right.
So, starting from, I think, challenges of having diverse business opportunities, different types of project requirements, requiring to assemble skills and repurpose some of these people to be able to optimize on your resources, ensuring that there is a meaningful assignment of the people so that they can be reassigned as and when they are required to ensure that in different types of business models. I mean, we do BOTs for customers as well as part of expansion of our relationships. We build distributed pods for customers, and these pods are distributed between India and non-India locations. So they are globally distributed teams. How do you ensure that you're able to create a parity within the organization that is as diverse? On one side, you're building pods. Some are projects, some are sustenance engineering, some of them are centers of excellence, and some of them are BOTs, right?
Yep.
All of them are very different natures of businesses. Their people dynamics of both talent acquisition and talent retention are very different. And yeah, you got to account for all of this. So I don't think business can succeed without sensitizing the people function, is what I would like to say.
Definitely, definitely. Right. I think the more the people function and the people strategy aligns to the business goals, I think the remaining pieces are taken care of, has been my humble opinion for a long time. Right. And I bat for it every time when we get into an OKR meeting, a vision planning, say 3 year, 5 year roadmap for a company. I think it's always important to keep your people strategy right at the top of things. So you kind of touched upon multiple areas. uh, did any one particular function, or say were there any tactics that needed a drastic transformation? Right, you had to jump in, and when you adopted Keka or when you adopted a HR tech platform, hey, this was the goal. This particular piece needs a very drastic transformation. I need to move it from A to Z. What would that be, and how has that been going for you? How have you been successful with that?
Yeah, interestingly, Varun, my association with Keka also was very deep from starting a very early stage of adoption in my previous organization. And I was located in Chennai at that point of time. You're familiar with the company as well.
Yeah.
So I've seen a deja vu of that also happening at Genzion. But for the sake of, for everyone, I think in the larger audience, it is very important for us to recognize what happens in our journey when we are kind of moving to and embracing automation, right, as per se. It starts off with so I was thinking about this session, and then I realized there's a very interesting way that I could kind of put this whole journey of transformation and adaptation that happens of automation in a company's lifetime, right, or a life cycle. It all starts with operational challenges and inefficiencies. I can't get the payroll thing done in time. It cannot happen accurately. There's a lot of personal information of employees that is constantly changing. I don't know what address to send the goodies. I do not know what address to send the a letter of communication, so on and so forth. Right? I mean, it starts from operational challenges. Then comes compliance. The organization realizes that it's also important to have the compliance piece.
Yep.
But the third very important area, I think, which is an awakening that has been happening, especially in the last few years. I mean, ever since we started calling and started using the word called employee experience, right, is employee engagement.
Yeah.
We call it associate engagement. We call all our employees as associates at Genzion. Um, and and employee engagement. That's what it is. Whether it is about communicating, sending out a communication to the entire org, whether it is about recognizing people, whether it's about doing a pulse survey, whether it is about creating some touch points to create communities out of people by capturing their hobbies, by ensuring that their life events are covered, and we are able to create some kind of a celebration out of them, whether they are birthdays or
Yep.
marriage anniversaries or work anniversaries. Employee engagement has become a big ticket, Varun, and I think this is where I think technology and Keka has really been helpful, has been an effortless tool in ensuring that we are able to create a rhythm out of it.
Yep. Yep. Great
then
to great.
then beyond engagement, there is this things like some things that evolve for the organization, right, and there are some things that we cannot ignore. And then at the end of the day, I think for all of us, the uber goal is to take data driven decisions as the time frames of change are shrinking and the predictability is becoming the norm, right, or rather the unpredictability is becoming the norm. You need to take the support of data driven decisions. And then, of course, there's this huge superpower of scaling the business where you cannot achieve it without embracing automation. I'd say those are some of those pieces that I've seen through repeatedly with adoption of technology.
Yeah, I think we see that pattern as well. Greatly put, Neeraj. I think it starts with operational inefficiencies. It starts with the basic automation that you need in place. Ultimately, what is the HR's North Star is people, is the employee experience, is the employee engagement, right? I
Yep.
think where we kind of over the years changed our product, transformed our product, improved it, and also our positioning, we realized it was all about employee experience and engagement more than 100%. It's important that the basic inefficiencies, the operations and all of it is automated, your compliance and all of it is in place, and then you can start focusing more towards the employee engagement side of things. Great. That kind of leads us to, so if you look at technology, right, now you have SaaS, right? Back maybe around the 1900s is where the desktop computers even came up. Maybe early job boards started, right? Job boards and hiring tools started at that point. And SaaS actually came out only in the 2000s, right? And only after that, talent management has become a key, right? Making people perform, assessing their competencies and skills, right? Helping them learn, upskill, improving their learning experience. All of it came later. And now we are talking about mobile apps, we are talking about AI, we are talking about AR, VR, and all of it, right? Uh, in the latest technology trends, how do you think it's going to benefit uh, HR tech as a whole and people uh, and culture, right? What are your thoughts on that?
Just a moment, Varun. I mean, I'm sorry, I got a little bit distracted because somebody was pinging me on.
Okay.
So, if I get it, what you were asking is, how do we see the future
Yes.
of leveraging technology?
How technology has transformed over the years, it has been very beneficial to the whole
Right.
HR space. And now we are in the era of, say, AI, AR, VR, and all of that, right? There's a lot of buzz, right? Although I strongly feel AI is the tool, it's not the goal, right? And I would love to hear your thoughts on how is that going to leverage, how is that going to be leveraged for people experiences.
Got it. So I think some of the so as we spoke about, right, first of all, in terms of scaling the business, right, I mean, creating some method in that madness as we scale the business, automation, I think you cannot do without automation, honestly. And thanks to the opportunity of being able to now use the technology in a SaaS model, as you said, software as a service model. It has made technology affordable by one and all kind of organizations. So this is a good part of the systems have evolved and automation has evolved and made more and more technology accessible and affordable to people. From there, I think what are some of the things that we see today where technology is being used? We are using assessment tools to be able to understand, especially assessments which are both behavioral and technical. We are
Got
even able to kind of create some amount of predictability of what are the learning abilities of groups of people, right? Some of them are fast learners, some of them are slow learners, some of them are learners who understand from more of image, and visual techniques. There are a lot of them who are learning from textual techniques. So we are able to apply that into L&D. Likewise, from team cohesiveness, right? What are the levels of cohesiveness that we can form within teams? We are able to do through leveraging some assessment platforms which are AI dependent. And So with that, we are able to create cohesive teams where we want to do repeated works or scalable work. We are able to create deliberately non-cohesive teams so that there can be of more and more of innovation that can happen, right? So team formations, I think learning abilities, work styles, what kind of values does a person have that match with our organization? Is he a value fit for the organization apart from just being a job fit? All these are newer trends where technology and especially AI is becoming extremely a handy tool to an HR leader and a
That's
people-centric organization.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting note around the value fitment, right? I think any and all issues come back to the culture, come back to your values, right? And if a system is able to tell you, hey, these people are like a total fit for your organization, nothing like that, right? Very, very interesting note around that. I think we have a interesting question from Manoj as well around gamification. I think you spoke about learning being collaborative and all of it, right? So
Exactly.
I think the attention spans have come down a lot these days, right? Even if I have to throw out a compliance questionnaire or a security training to the entire organization, I think how much are they bought onto it? How much do they understand the value of it, right? And stuff like gamification, right, helps you kind of collaborate, get people on board, right? Reward them for how they actually come in and start engaging with organizational activities, right? And
Absolutely.
that's absolutely necessary. Thanks for that. Uh, I mean,
Couple of more things on gamification, Varun, that
yeah,
I want to kind of add for the the larger audience who may have got the exposure to
definitely.
gamification,
Yeah,
or equivalent kind of tools. I mean, I have seen tools where for assessment you can complete an assessment just by seeing some flying objects, and you pick up those objects within the first 1 minute, and it can give you an entire assessment.
yeah, yeah,
To images, uh, neutral gendered images where you can make a choice of the images, and that kind of tells you about your behavioral tendencies and your psychological preferences. But a more important piece, which is where gamification I think has been handy, to your point, Varun, is that the moment the human mind is put to a lot of context and a lot of text, and the moment you start asking questions, the mind automatically becomes biased. When you want to catch up a person in an absolutely unbiased form or manner is when I think some of these tools become very handy. And number two, I mean, we all know, I mean, right from grandma tales we used to talk about, right? Storytelling is the most powerful way of communicating, influencing, actioning, and influencing people. I think gamification is that one wonderful medium in which storytelling can be made in such a joyful experience. And I think that's where this is gaining more and more popularity with the level of effectiveness and the assimilation power that gamification can do in unit time, apart from the portability that it's available across types of platforms, right? I
yeah,
mean, I
yeah.
can watch it in so many different forums.
And having it handy on your mobile apps, to your tablets, to your work laptops and desktops. Yeah, absolutely,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah, I think when employees feel heard and they're taken through the journey, they're always connected, right? What Keka is also trying is to build a system that constantly rewards and gamifies the experience from hiring to how they grow in an organization, right? That's something that we are exploring, and it's a very, very interesting space. And definitely I think it touches employees right at what they need and why they joined the organization firstly, right? I think it's very helpful. Amazing. Great. I think that segues into our next bit, right, where I think it was wonderful hearing your journey. It was very inspiring. I also wanted to touch upon what were the certain things that helped you during that journey. What were the learnings, right, as you moved to being a HR leader? It's also in line with a question that Gauri is asking, right? What are the tactics? What can help you influence that strategy, right, as you grow through your career path, especially HR strategy, right? As you scale to become a senior HR leader, what could be tips that can help you influence the company strategy? Yeah,
Uh, Self-expression. Bottom line, one phrase I think that should kind of give the audience the most simplified version and the power behind influencing. I think we all need to gear up to be able to create a safe and positive work environment, so that even the least probably person in the hierarchy of the organization, the least associate, is able to express himself or herself freely, in line with the interest of the business, uh, not from biases, to deliberately create negation and a negative environment, but more from strengthening the business. Any kind of idea, improvisation, the smallest of ideas, irrespective of which function they belong to, whichever function they can influence onto. I think if they can express themselves completely freely without the challenge of retaliation, and we all work towards the direction of being able to create that, right, is where I think the real success index of being able to influence lies between business and the HR strategy per se. Pulse surveys, right? I mean, which kind of tell you about the
Mm.
happiness index of the person.
Yeah.
Pulse surveys that tell you about the relationship between the manager and the associate. Pulse survey that lets you know about whether people are able to understand the vision and mission of the company are all very important indexes to tell you how how much amount of self-expression is living in the organization.
Yeah, I mean, good amount of data to use for the influence as well from that, right? It automatically is out there. You don't have to convince anyone, right? The pulse surveys are what is happening on the ground. I think that's
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Great, great. Any specific metrics, any specific numbers that you track, right? To kind of call this success or kind of make sure that you're on track. How do you look at it from a
Mostly participation rates were at the root of it, right? I mean, is what I look for.
got
So more than the results and the outcomes, I mean, I look for the participation rate. If the participation rate is high, associates are engaged, associates are connected, and if the associates are connected, then we can communicate and we can influence them. If they are not even connected, you can't communicate, you can't influence them.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I'll take it back to the same learning problem that we spoke about. I think participation, right? Getting people to first come and get it done. I think it's not necessary. Everyone's busy doing their own work, right? Everyone has their teams, their projects, their goals, right? And to get something done, it's more on us to ensure engage them as much to come and participate, right? Than them to kind of comply to something just because it's a policy, right? Definitely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
I think, we put very little effort culturally to talk about the why as storytelling, as
Mhm.
leaders, as inspirers in organizations. I think the why is very important. People, so one is participation, the other thing is willingness. So, how do you create the willingness if, in case I don't understand what's in it for me? And
Exactly.
therefore, the why is so important to communicate at every stage of change management or motivation that we want to get a certain level of behavioral response from associates. We don't put the efforts, we will not get the behavior, the desired behavior.
Yeah, yeah. I think in building Keka or building any product, I think the one thing that we coach product managers on is to go to the roots of why, right? Get into the depths of why. Basically, I ask five whys whenever there's a problem, right? And if you're able to drill down to the five whys and you're able to figure out, hey, why are people not engaged, right? As simple as that. I think there's an answer right there. Absolutely. I think the why is what improves the willingness. The why is what motivates and inspires people rather than the what and how, right? Definitely, definitely. Spot on.
I mean, I
Thanks.
know of so many leaders who talk about, so in L&D, so can you fix this problem? So are you saying this 2-day workshop will give you the fix? Where will it give you the fix if I don't even have the willingness to, right?
To come in.
And how will I get the willingness if I don't even know what is the upside?
Absolutely.
And how will I know the upside if you don't tell me the why?
Yeah, yeah. It becomes a huge chicken and egg problem, right? So the 2-day workshop needs to happen, and then that's for getting your work done better, and because of that, again, your work gets impacted, and all of that, right? It goes in a circle there. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that's a very very valid notion there. Great. Thanks, Neeraj. I think one last bit. Any advice from your side with your rich experience? Any advice for budding HR professionals looking to chart a growth path? I know you spoke about self-expression. That's key. Anything else that you would want to share on how they can maximize their impact?
I would kind of talk about a caution for everyone. As HR professionals, you can't do without emotion. So it's a very important temptation to train ourselves over a period of time to not let the emotion come in the way, as part of our biases. Uh, so, having said that, I think data driven decisions is what we talk about, and we need to be leaning on data driven decisions as we grow the organizations and as the organizations become more and more complex. Shift based systems, working in different business hours, adding a new product line, adding a new service, adding a new entity like the customer success team that kind of started happening, within KK world. I mean,
Yep.
I'm simply amazed by that initiative. I've spoken to as many leaders as I could to be able to glorify that. I think a brilliant
Thanks,
initiative.
Neeraj.
But
That's
when
beautiful.
all of these complexities happen, change happens in organizations, they cannot happen efficiently without being data driven. So we have to be data driven. But then I know the first time I heard about data driven tens of years ago, I used to think, but human beings, right? You cannot take human decisions purely based on
Yep.
data. So I agree, and that caution that data should be used, but you got to blend that data also alongside with some of the real
Yep.
realities
Yep.
of life that you work with, a blend of using your mind and also using your heart. I
Yep.
think where the balance is forms great leadership.
Yep. Yep. I think the subjectivity along with the data is what helps. The reality check needs to be there. You can't just blindly go by data. Amazing. Great. Thanks, Neeraj. I think we are almost on time. I'll check with Pallavi once. Pallavi, over to you. Thanks. Thanks a lot, Neeraj. This was very, very insightful. Thanks.
My
I
pleasure. It's been an enjoyable conversation, Varun. I can see Pallavi having a big smile, so I hope it worked for you as well, Pallavi.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Varun and Neeraj, for keeping us engaged with all those cheerful exchange of ideas. We could see a lot of questions in the comment box, and thank you, Varun, for taking. I think you took some two questions from the audiences, and thanks to our audiences as well, who kept the session engaged, engaging with us through their emojis. A lot of thumbs ups to the questions that Varun raised and the answers which Neeraj gave.
yeah.
Thanks
Yeah.
a lot for this interactive session.
Thanks to everyone. Please pass on any questions if you have. We'll be happy to answer it offline as well. Yeah.
Absolutely, offline as well. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Please connect with us on social media in any which way that you can.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Good luck. Happy
Thank
journeying and
you.
happy spreading happiness across, creating happy organizations.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, this was the end of the conversation. We could take up more questions, but keep your questions with you. We'll be coming back with another panel on embracing HR tech to foster culture of innovation in emerging enterprises. So, see you soon on the other side. Thank you so much for joining in.